So I have said it before. I'm going to say it now. And I will most likely say it again in the future. The knives that come out of South Africa are absolutely fantastic. I don't know that I have seen a bad knife out of South Africa. I have seen some more incredible and less awesome. So there is a range of knives from South Africa. Some makers are exceptional, other makers are average, things like that, yes. I only own one South African knife. This is from Peter Steen. Him and his lovely wife, Joyce, gifted this to me. I don't know. Was it this year while I've been in this house? I don't remember exactly when, but I did video on it. This is the Latch 22. It's a friction folder, but with detents. It's super cool. Normally a friction folder would just fall right here, but there's a stop there. There's a couple of ratcheting detents. Super cool, super crazy, awesome grind on it. Kind of a convex, concave. It's really cool. I'll put a link in the corner later. This one is from Bradley Marais. Marais, I think is how you pronounce it. And this is the Vector. This was built specifically for my friend Elias back in the spring of 2024. It's at the end of 2024 right now. So this is pretty much a brand new knife. I really like it. Now, you're probably saying, that looks really familiar to me. Because it's not based off of, but Bradley apprenticed under Jason Guthrie. So, yeah, it has a resemblance. There's like a family DNA, if you will, because he's gone on his own. He finished his apprenticeship, started making his own knives, having his own business, blah, blah, blah. And in fact, when Jason Guthrie left South Africa and immigrated to Sweden, Bradley bought Jason's shop there in South Africa. So, yeah, it's just a really cool story. It's a really cool kind of, that's what you like, right? You want to train somebody and you want them to come up and take that knowledge and then go on their own. That's what we want from people that we train in any business, right? I have hired people into my industry and taught them the things I want them to know, or taught them all about my business. And it's always great when they come to me and they go, look, hey, it's been great, a couple of years, whatever. It's time for me to go move on. I got a position over here as a manager, as a project manager, they've kind of moved up, and that's always super cool. So what do we got here? This is the Vector. It is 4 3/8 closed, 7 5/8 overall. That gives you a 3.27 inch blade. It is M390 hand rub satin finish. It's a beautiful finish. It looks really good. Let's just zoom in and take a look at that right now. Zirconium thumb stud. I'm a big fan of zirconium. The blade finish is fantastic. This is, what do they call it? It is gold dark matter carbon fiber. I like it. And gold isn't really my thing, but this is just the right shade of that gold color that I love it. Now, what's a little bit interesting to me, and I'm going to have to ask Elias about this, how did we end up with a Damasteel backspacer? Now, I have no problem with Damasteel. Okay, that's not it at all. It just, to me, is a little maybe out of place, if you will, because we have a monosteel blade. It's the only kind of flashy thing on it. And maybe that was in the whole point, to hide a little bit of pizzazz, if you will, where most people aren't going to notice it, aren't going to even know about it, but Elias, the owner, knows about it. And a lot of times that's what it's about for me too, is having something where there's a little something extra in the knife that the average person wouldn't know, wouldn't care about, wouldn't even notice. But to me, I know that the owner or the maker did this little extra thing, and that could be what that's for. Now, this thing is super slicey. It's 0.008 behind the edge, and the blade thickness only starts out at 0.126. Full flat grind. So it starts the grind way here, and it starts to get thinner as it goes the whole way. Whereas on a more of a traditional grind, if you will, this is not even a good example. Do I have a good example here? That's a good question. Here's kind of a good example. You have a flat here, and then you have a very flat piece here, and then you have the grind that starts and comes down. It's not even really a great example either. Man, the stuff I have on my table here isn't the greatest. But again, you have the flat spot here, and then the grind goes down. Whereas this one, there is no bevel. It just starts here and goes all the way down to 0. Okay, so I think you guys get it. Most of you watching my channel probably totally get it already. So I don't need to explain. I'm over-explaining to you guys. But what that does is it gives you a really, really, really sharp edge. And this thing is just fantastic to slice with. Man, like I've said in other videos, I could slice on that paper. I could just do that for 10 or 20 minutes, honestly. Give me a big piece of paper, give me a knife that I don't have to sharpen, and I could just go to town. All right, weighs in at 3.3 ounces. It's on Teflon washers. Amazingly fast deployment. Like crazy fast. When I first felt it, I could have swore it was on bearings because it's just instantaneously open. Where you notice it is on the close. Get it past the detent there. It's just going to go wherever you stop, and away you go. I love it. I have no problem with the action. That is kind of my preferred action, where it just kind of, you have to shake it and get it done. That's what I like. Yeah, this thing is fantastic. Now, what else is new, interesting about this is it has, so it's a titanium lock side with a tungsten lock bar insert. Now, it's really hard to show, but it's not your traditional lock bar insert. And I'm going to see if one of these other knives I have on my table, I didn't really get that prepared for this part of it. If you look at this ZT here, you can see the insert is basically the whole thing, right? It's bolted in right there. And that is the steel lock bar insert of the titanium scale. So that what it does is the steel is touching the steel of the blade. On this one, if you look, you see that kind of dimple right there on the lock bar. That is the tungsten, which is super hard. And it is, I don't know if I can actually show this. I have to extend the lock. I have to overextend the lock, and maybe I can do that just real quick. There, it's right in the end of the lock bar. So where the lock bar is, the tungsten is put into the end of it, whereas your traditional lock bars are kind of cut out of, I don't have a really good example here with me. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't have a good example. Okay, you guys know what a lock bar insert is. But this is a piece of tungsten that's put in this way, and it just sticks out there, and that's what engages the lock or the blade. I think it's super cool. It's different. It's unique. And is it better? Is it worse? Oh, that I don't know. But it's unique, and I love it. Man, this thing fires like a mule is kicking you. It's so cool. All right, here's a couple of size comparisons. The Sharpie, the Spiter Godelica, And because I pulled out the Kubi, there you go. And the other one that I had here was the R.J. Martin ZT collaboration. So it's a ZT collaboration with R.J. Martin. This is the 0600, which is actually slightly bigger than a custom R.J. Martin Q36. Which when I bought this, I didn't realize it was bigger. And it's thicker. Like this is the super slim model. This is more standard. Like, so it's not a real good comparison. But it's physically longer. And I didn't realize that when I bought the ZT. I'm not upset about it. I'm good with it. I love it. But for me, it was more about having a production version and a custom version. I try to do that with knives. With custom knives that I own, I try to get a production version also. Or if I have a production version and there is a custom version, which is what happened with the Red Horse Knife Works Hellraiser, I bought the production version, and then later I was able to start acquiring several of the customs. To that point, Ed Kim is just now started, at the time of filming, started building the very last custom Hellraiser ever for me. We've been talking about that build for probably 2+ years, and I sent a deposit, and he is working on it now. So that is super exciting. All right, Elias, thank you very much. He sent in like 5 or 6 knives. I have a couple more to film. This one's probably my favorite out of the group. So far, anyway. I really like this. I am a fan of Jason Guthrie. I've done a scout video from Alex. I'll put a link to my South African playlist in the corner, and you can check out all of them. And yeah, I can't speak highly enough about what you get from South Africa. The quality, the craftsmanship, and the price you will never beat here in the United States. If you want to argue with me, let's argue. Dollar for donuts, you're going to get a better, higher quality knife from South Africa than you will here at a better price. It's just a fact. Let me know if you think otherwise. All right, thanks a lot, guys. That's all I've got for you today. I appreciate it. Kind of went a little long, but I had a lot to say about it. So what are you going to do? Thanks, guys.